Hey, what is up guys? DRC3 here, back with another My Hero Ultra Impact video, and today we are doing another passer poll video. This time it is for the brand new character Sero coming to the game for the very first time ever, along with his SR counterpart Kirishima, and then of course the new SR and UR memories. So we're going to be taking a look at each of the memories, each of the characters, going over their kits and what they can do, and deciding, is it worth it to spend your hard-earned hero gems on this banner, or maybe paid for hero gems, depending on which you are, a free-to-play player or a pay-to-play player. But either way, whether it's worth it to spend your hero gems on this upcoming banner. So first off, starting with the SR memory, it is called Remember My Principles. It increases character skill impact by 25% when equipped by a hero. That percentage is okay for an SR memory. There are going to be UR memories that obviously do a lot more skill impact increase than that. Also increases character speed by 35% if Endeavor is on a team. Now that is actually really good for an SR memory to do a 35% speed increase, because I think the most an SR memory does right now is 45%, and that's the one with Gentle Criminal. So 35% is actually pretty good, especially if you're a newer player and you don't have the UR memories that give a lot of speed. So this could be a very good memory if you are a newer player looking for a good PvP memory. That's about the only way this memory will be good. Other than that, it's not super the skill impact isn't super useful. And then it also has the stipulation of having Endeavor on your team. Like the purple Endeavor is okay for PvP, he's good, but there are still better characters than him. And then if you're running this memory, you're basically forcing yourself to run Endeavor on your team, so it kind of takes away some of the value. But the art team is killing it. And I know there's going to be people like myself who want to pull on this banner just for the art, because this is literally the cutest freaking thing right here. Like, this art is, it's amazing. It's actually so good. It's really, really good. So pulling for the art, yes, I'd pull for the art. Pulling for the effect, probably not, in my opinion. And at the end of this video, I'll let you guys know just my overall opinion on the banner. Like, should you overall pull or should you not pull? But as far as for this memory individually, pull for the art, don't pull for the effect. The new UR memory is called We're the Same, featuring Ochako or Araka and Toga, and like, this was a really good moment in the anime. It made me nervous because I don't read the manga, right? So when I was watching the anime for the first time, it made me really nervous for Ochako, because like, in my mind, she's not that strong, right? She could get taken out by Toga, I think. She's got her martial arts, but how much martial arts training has she really done? I don't know. Like, she did, what, a week at her internship? So Toga's just got like the edge on her, in my opinion. So I was really nervous in the anime. But anyways, let's take a look at what this memory We're the Same does. The skill increases characters' max HP by 15% for 3 turns when battle starts. Okay, that's good. Increases characters' defense by 30% if there are any heroes on the team. Easy to accomplish. Also increases characters' critical hit rate by 40% if there are any villains on the team. Also pretty easy to accomplish. So this memory is really good, but not as good as Protect the Mentor, which is another memory featuring Tokoyami and Hawks when Tokoyami is protecting Hawks. That memory is technically going to be a better defense memory, but this memory is good because it gives you crit and defense. And so when we're looking at this memory, I'll say right now, this is a PvP memory. It's going to work pretty well on the new Fantasy Kirishima, right? Because it's going to increase his max HP, it's going to increase his defense and increase your crit rate. But it will also work pretty well on any characters you run alongside Kirishima. That's the main thing to take into account here, because if you're running other characters alongside Kirishima, they can still get hit by attack alls, or when Kirishima gets below 60% health, then they can be targeted, right? So this defense increase of 30% lasts all battle, and that is actually pretty decent. And then increasing crit rate by 40% if there's any villains on the team. Throw a villain on the sub slot, easy. You have a 40% extra crit rate right now, and that can be invaluable in PvP. And then increasing max HP by 15% is really good too. So PvP is kind of in a weird place right now, and I will be doing a tier list for PvP and PvE here coming up in the few days or however long it takes me, right? But I think this memory, we won't know until it's in the game, but I think this memory is actually going to be very, very good, and it'll get better in the future as we get more defensive units, right? So I think it is worth pulling. I think the effect is actually really decent, and I would use this memory on my defense team, like with the Kirishima. I have the Protect the Mentor. I'll keep that on Kirishima, right? But then I'll put this memory on Jiro, for example, who I'm running alongside Kirishima, just to give her a little bit of extra survivability. It also increases her max HP, so that helps her healing even more. Like, it's not a bad memory at all. It's actually a really decent memory. The art team always kills it. This art is really good. I probably still prefer the SR or art more, but like, there is nothing about this memory in my mind that says this memory is one you don't want, right? There have been UR memories in the past, like you just don't want them because they're not very good, but this memory is actually an all-around valuable, decent PvP memory that you are probably going to want, especially if you pulled the new Fantasy Kirishima. Now let's talk about the new SR character, Firm Will Kirishima, which I, once again, don't know why they have decided that, hey, we just released Fantasy Kirishima, the best tank in the game. Let's release an SR version now. That's probably this is the least hype thing on the banner. Realistically, this is even the SR Hawks memory, which isn't great for effect. The art is more hype than this character, but that's all right. So let's take a look at what this character can do. And by no means is this character bad. I'll say that right now. It's just like, it's not hype, right? So starting with the plus ultra move, Ardent Frenzy, deals 500% damage to a single opponent, also increases skill impact by 30% if character's defense is higher than the opponent's. His defense is probably going to be higher than the opponent's realistically, because he increases his defense with his action skills and stuff down here. So that's probably not too hard for him to pull off. And in terms of being a tank, he'll be a decent tank, but here's the thing about SR characters, right? And I'm not gonna lie to you, SR characters have literally no value in the game if they're just tanky. The only way an SR character has value, as of right now, at least with the content that's in game, is if they do plus ultra rays, they do status elements, they do crits, they have technical hits, any of those things that help you in VE tower. Now, can SR tanks become more valuable later on? Yes, absolutely, if they add that content into the game. We got some news in the recent producers letter during the global first year anniversary that said they were working on adding a new feature into the game, and that new feature should be coming somewhat soon. So maybe it'll be some content where this tank becomes useful. Who knows? But as of right now, just before we even go through this kit, this Kirishima is not going to be useful unless he has technical, status elements, crits, or any of that stuff going on. So keep that in mind. So starting with his first action skill, Unbreakable Claw, deals 300% damage to a single opponent. Increases skill impact by 25% when character's max HP is increased. Also increases character's defense by 25% for 3 turns. So this character would work really well with the new memory, which increases your max HP and gives you extra defense. Like, that memory with this character almost makes this character, like, as an SR, if you DX this SR and you don't have any other tank characters, he might be a decent tank for you in PvP, which is kind of crazy. And I think they feel confident, like I said in the last video, releasing this character with such ridiculous skills for an SR, because they have just released the best tank in the game with Fantasy Kirishima, and a cooldown time of 4 is not bad at all. His second action skill is called Red Counter, gives character the ability to counter for 3 turns after receiving a normal attack, increases character's max HP by 20% for 3 turns, and then increases character's power by 30% for 3 turns. Also gives character a barrier that nullifies 2 hits. So yeah, that's a little good, like very good for an SR character. Now, here's the bad thing about him so far, is he doesn't reduce damage, right? He doesn't reduce overall damage, even though he is going to counter stuff. He's still taking all of that damage. He does get the barrier for 2 hits, but 2 hits is not a lot of defense. He does increase his defense on this action skill, but increasing defense is completely different from reducing damage, so just keep that in mind. And then his first auto skill, Unwavering Courage, gives character the ability to cover allies when using a barrier. Cool. Once per battle, increases character's max HP by 30% when HP is below 30%. So he'll only be able to, from what I understand, cover characters while he has these 2 barriers, because neither of these action skills allow him to cover characters. So he's not going to be able to even do a lot of tanking for you, even if you wanted him to. And then once per battle, increases character's max HP by 30% when HP is below 30%. Cool, gives him a little more survivability, not really that helpful. And his last auto skill, hardening to the max, increases defense of all N-type allies by 20%. Also gives character a barrier that nullifies 2 hits every 3 turns, up to 3 turns. Okay, so this right here saves him. The fact that he gets a barrier that nullifies 2 hits every 3 turns, up to 3 times, gives him a little bit more tankability, but I feel like overall it's just too reliant on him having barriers to actually draw aggro. So that's going to cause some problems with him being a solid tank, and we'll just have to see how he is when he gets in game. Really, this is one of those characters we just don't know until he ends up in game. Let's take a look at his arts though. This is his unawakened art. I actually like this almost better than the UR unawakened arts. Like, this is not bad at all. The art team always killing it, always killing it. And this is his awakened art right here, also liking it. Like, it's simple, right? But it's good. It's very, very good. So the art team is always killing it. So overall, looking at this Kirishima, based on his kit, based on what he can do, based on the fact that he is an SR character, I would say he's not really worth pulling right now for the content that's in game. He's not going to help you much with PvP. He's not going to help you much with PvE. His art is sick, right? His art looks good. Art team always doing great. But like overall, just as a character, he's not really needed. So this would be like a definite, like, you don't need this. You could pass on this character right here. Now the moment you've all been waiting for. We're going to talk about superior mobility Hanta Sero. Like, yeah, the name superior mobility is no lie. He is literally the best mobile quote unquote character in the game because of the fact that he decreases speed and increases speed. He is absolutely going to be PvP meta. Like, he is going to be ridiculous. Let's just take a look at his kit. But I'll tell you right now, before even looking at his kit, before even looking at his arts, this guy is going to be like a must summon. And it really sucks that they put him right after the anniversary, but they had to make something hype, right? Otherwise people wouldn't spend money. So this is just hype enough, I think, to get you guys to spend a little bit of money. It's enough to get me to spend a lot more money than I should. But let's take a look. His plus ultra move is called Taping Combo. It deals 650% damage to a single opponent. This skill lands a bullseye if the opponent's speed is decreased. Decreases the opponent's power by 30% for 3 turns. Decreases the opponent's speed by 30% for 3 turns. Medium chance, 45%, of binding the opponent for 2 turns. That is actually ridiculous. So decreasing the opponent's power by 30% is massive. That is a big percentage to decrease their power, so they won't hit nearly as hard. Decreasing their speed by 30% is ridiculous, especially if you look at his other action skills below, which we'll go over here in a second. But decreasing it by another 30% is ridiculous. And then landing a bullseye if their speed is decreased, which it will be because it's Sero, means that Ida does not stand a chance anymore. Fantasy Ida is getting slapped in the face, slapped around like a certain word that he deserves to be called after dominating PvP all this time. His first action skill for Sero is called Barricade Tape. It has a high chance, 70%, 70. Oh boy, oh lordy, 70% of binding not just one opponent, not just 2, but all opponents for 1 turn. It's only 1 turn, but he has a high chance of binding all of them for 1 turn. Decreases speed of all opponents by 30% for 3 turns. So there's the decrease in speed of all opponents by 30% for 3 turns. And then also gives character the ability that nullifies 1 hit. Giving him a barrier that nullifies 1 hit is just like the icing on the cake. It's not even needed. It's not needed at all, but why not? We'll throw it in. And then a cooldown time of 5. I wish it was a little bit lower. I wish it was a cooldown time of 4, but you can work with a cooldown time of 5. Honestly, not terrible. And by the way, this is a technical hit as well. I've just been thinking of him in the aspect of PvP really when I'm going over this, but in terms of like PvE, having a technical hit and a status element, and then having status element up here, at, like, he's good so far. Status elements and technical hits, he's doing great. His second action skill is Binding Kick, deals 375% damage to a single opponent. This skill lands a bullseye if the opponent's speed is decreased. Well, guess what? We'll be decreasing that. Decreases the opponent's power by 25% for 3 turns. Decreases the opponent's critical hit rate by 35% for 3 turns. That's just mean now. Also cancels all of the opponent's temporary speed up effects. Sorry, Ida, you are no longer allowed to speed up. So yeah, a little bit ridiculous. And this is another technical hit, so insane. So you got 2 technical hits, you got a status ailment on this action skill, a status ailment on this plus ultra. He is looking phenomenal for both PvP and PvE. The only downside for PvE is that this is a cooldown time of 5, which makes him a little bit harder to use. His first auto skill is called Simple But Great. Decreases speed of all opponents by 15% for 3 turns when a wave starts. So you don't even have to worry about using your first action skill first. If you want to use this first, you can, and you can land the bullseye because the speed will already be decreased on the opponents like you need it to be from his auto skill, which is actually ridiculous. Also increases character skill impact by 20% when speed is not decreased. Wow, so as long as they don't have a Sero on the team, I think you're okay. You're gonna get extra skill impact. And then his second auto skill is called Outstanding Aerodynamics. Increases character speed by 10% for 2 turns every turn. Every turn. Increases character's defense by 20% when their speed is not decreased. Okay, so he has extra defense too when his speed isn't decreased. And then lowers chance of all ally UA high class 1A students from becoming bound. Just more icing on the cake. That last part was not necessary at all, but it makes sense because it's going to help because everybody's going to be running this character if they get him. So if you're going up against an enemy Sero, you're going to want the chance of lowering the bind when the fact that he has a high chance to bind all opponents is there. So yeah, that, like, it's nice that it's there, and I think they anticipate this character being run on every team, and so it feels very much like they've set up this kit for it. But increasing speed by 10% for 2 turns every turn, it's just insane to me. That's actually ridiculous. He's going to be so fast. He's going to be so good. He's decreasing the enemy's speed, increasing his own speed, and he has status elements. He has technical hits. He is going to be literally so good in both PvP and PvE. The only place where he lacks a little bit is this cooldown, which it'd be better if it was 4 for PvE, but that would just make him too overpowered. So he is really good. In terms of his kit, I think he is phenomenal. Let's take a look at his art though. This is his Unawakened art. You can also see it down there in the bottom left of the screen. I really like Sero's Unawakened art. I think it is great. I would love to see this on the home screen, but his Awakened art, I want to see even more on the home screen, like I said in the last video. So let's take a look at his Awakened art. And here is his Awakened art. I know these bandages, not bandages, why did I call them bandages? I know his tape in the background is going to be moving, and I just foresee that looking so cool on the home screen. Like, this is great art right here. Great for the first UR version of Sero. I am super excited about him coming to the game. The art team always killing it. So in terms of his kit and his art, is Sero worth pulling? He is more than worth pulling. He is going to be like necessary to pull, as much as you might not want to hear it, as much as, like, I'm not even just talking this character up. I'm not even just hyping him up. He is going to be that freaking good, guys. He is that important to pull. Like, if you don't have any hero gems, you might want to consider buying them for the first time if you are a free-to-play player. If you are a pay-to-play player, you're definitely going to want to be buying hero gems. Like, this character is going to be good. Plus, he's the first Sero in game, so you have to at least do a couple of summons for him. Maybe use some silver tickets. I don't know, guys, but summon on this banner for him and him alone, like, he is ridiculous. Now, in terms of everything that's on the banner, this UR character, the SR Kirishima, the UR memory, the SR memory. Okay, so starting with Sero, obviously a must summon. Kirishima, pass, you don't need him, garbage. This UR memory, pull, very good. UR memory will be decent in PvP, and the SR memory, pass on the effect, pull on the art because the art is sick, but mainly this is like a pass right here too. So the URs definitely worth it. The SRs, not so much for this banner. Hopefully that helps you guys out, helps you make a decision on whether you should pull on this banner. I'm telling you, it is definitely worth it for this character if you get them, but you got to do what's best for you. If you guys enjoyed the video, please go down there, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and thank you guys for watching. Peace.